Today we're going to work on the tutorial for Livin' on a Prayer, as I did the arrangement on my album Dragonfly, which came out a few years back. This is a pretty long video and a really difficult song, so if you're new to the ukulele, I definitely recommend checking out some of the other tutorials that I've done here before this one. But if you're a more advanced player looking for a great challenge, you found it here. The tab for this can be downloaded over at my Patreon page. It's free for everybody to download this tab of Livin' on a Prayer, so check that out in the link in the description below. It's thanks to my patron Anthony that this video is happening, so thanks so much for your patronage. And let's go ahead and dive in. There's 12 different parts. They're all going to be time-stamped down below. And let's go ahead and get started with the intro. So to start with Livin' on a Prayer, we're going to do the intro, which is that sort of iconic bass line. And to play this, what we're going to do is we're going to position our pinky here on the 7th fret of the A string, and we're going to position our index finger here on the 2nd fret of the A string. So we've got this little bit of a stretch over that one string, because we're going to play the open E, which I like to do with my thumb, and then we play the A string, which you can use your middle finger or your index, whatever's comfortable, but you want to make sure you're using multiple fingers as you're picking this. And then after I play the 7, I'm going to take that pinky off to have the 2 now played. And then I'm going to add the ring finger on the 5 of the A. So the beginning, and we play the open twice, followed by 2 and 5 again, is just those 3 notes on the A string with the open E. So it looks something like this. And we're going to repeat this. Now, to continue with the intro, we're going to introduce this really cool bass line, and that bass line is going to be on our C string. So to start with this, we're going to do the same sort of thing we did before, only instead of just playing the open E, we're going to play the open E and the open C together. And we're going to let that C note ring through this. So it's really important to get that note to continue resonating. We're going to do the same thing with the left hand here after we play the C and the E together. It's exactly the same, just with that C ringing. Now what needs to happen is we need to get the 2 on the C to be played. So we take our index finger and place it there on 2. We play the 2 on the C and the 0 on the E together. But now we need to keep the same line on the A string going, but we need to leave our index here the whole time. So we play those 2 strings, we stretch our pinky up to 7, but we want to leave the 2 on the C to keep ringing with our index finger. And then after we play the 7 on the A, we're going to go down to 2 on the A with our middle finger, again, to keep that index finger there to ring. And then we're going to add the pinky there on 5 of the A string. So it looks like this. So you'll notice I'm holding that index finger the whole way through to get that continued sustain. Going into the next measure here, this 2 is going to move to a 4, which is going to be played with the middle finger here on the 4th fret of the C string. And we're going to play the same line. Only now, because of our middle finger being used here on the C string, we can play these notes the same way we did before. So if we look at this and we look at measure 3 where this little bass line starts, it starts with the open C and open E. Then the 2 on the C with the open E. Then finally the 4 on the C with the open E. And we do this one a second time. And that repeats. All the way up until measure 10 now. When we get to measure 10, even though it's still the intro, we're going to fret this much differently. And this is a relatively new introduction I've done with this song, but I think it makes it sound so much better. And since I've been performing it live again, I've been using this new fingering. And what it's going to be is the index finger here on the 4 of the C string, ring finger barred across the E and the A on the 7th fret. So it's kind of this almost little double bar where the index finger, it only needs to cover the C string, but if it covers the E and the A too, it's no big deal because the ring finger is right there. We're going to play the C, A, E, and then we're going to stretch our middle finger over here to 7 on the G. And this is a doozy and really takes some hand flexibility to be able to do. So if you are struggling with just getting this fretting in place, it's worthwhile to just kind of get the yoga of the holding these shaking out the hand, put them on, hold them. But after we play the 7 on the G, plays the 4 on the C twice, 7 on the E, and 7 on the G, which you'll notice is all sort of built in. Now you might be thinking, why am I not using my pinky at all? And that's because of what happens next here in the verse. But that's the whole intro section. That's section A going all the way through. Let's go ahead and jump now into section B, the verse. What we're going to do for this is we're going to take our index finger, place on the 4th fret of the C string, ring finger across the 7 on the E and the A, just like what we were doing at the end of the intro there. And we're going to then stretch our pinky up to 10 on the A. So 0, 4, 7, 10 essentially is what we're playing. And we're going to strum through all of this with our thumb. And then we're going to play the 10 on the A again, then go down to 9, and then 7, and 7 again, all while holding this shape. Now, the next note here is 7 on the G. So we hold these fingers where they are. We take our middle finger and we stretch it up to 7 on the G with our middle finger. And then we're going to play 7 on the A, which is already there, twice. So we have... Whew, doozy, right? Really difficult with the hand. Honestly, this is the hardest part of the song in a lot of ways. But it sounds so good when you get it all there because of how open it is. So then we're going to play the 7 on the G for measure 12 here, and then the 7 on the E again, then the open G, and then we're going to play 4 on the C, which is right there twice, then 7 on the E, which is already there, then 7 on the G, adding the middle finger again. So just the first 2 measures of the verse should sound like this. Whew. As we go on now to measure 13, it's more of the same. Only we're adding the fingers back on, so you'll notice at 13, as long as you're following this fretting habit of the index here on 4 of the C, ring barred across 7 of the E and the A, and the pinky kind of taking the responsibilities of the 9 and the 10 on the A, it's pretty self-explanatory, albeit still challenging. As we go into 14, we're going to play... So that's using some triplet quarter notes there. All that you need to do is make sure that you get that sort of feel in your head as you're playing it. It's still the same fretting as we've been doing. Here at measure 15, we finally get a little bit of a reprieve. We're going to take our hand off and shake it out a little bit because, whew. And we're going to play open on the A, open on the G, open on the E, open on the G again. And then we're going to do an up strum on that all open, a ghost note, which is just your thumb striking the G string going down, followed by another up strum. And then on 16, we take our index, bar all the way across 2. We're going to go down, down, up, down on that. Then we're going to play 2 on the A, open A. So it starts a little bit of strumming there with 15 into 16. As we go into 17 now, we're going to play an E minor chord, but we're going to leave our index finger off. So 0, 4, 3, 0, ring finger here on 4 of the C, middle finger here on 3 of the E, play through all 4 strings, and do a hammer on to 2 on the A with the index finger. You're then going to play the open G, open C, 4 on the C, 3 on the E, 2 on the A, open G. And then you're going to up strum this cool E minor 9 chord, and to do that, all that you're going to do is take the middle finger off and add the index to be a bar across the E and the A on the 2nd fret. So you have 0, 4, 2, 2, and you can up strum with your index finger or what I like to do, my thumbnail, to create that sound. Then we pluck the open G, 4 on the C, 2 on the E, 2 on the A, and then the open G as we go into 19. And when we go to 19 here, you'll notice it's the same stuff again. So all that is exactly the same as what we played earlier in the verse. You'll notice that measures 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16 are exactly the same as measures 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So now as we go into 25, which is the last couple measures here of the verse, we're going to do an up strum on that same E minor 9 chord that I've talked about a moment ago. Ring finger here on the 4th fret of the C string, index barred across 2 on the E and the A, up strum, G, C, E, A, G, and then we're going to go up, up, down. So using our index finger to actually strum over. You'll notice those are marked with the strumming symbols here on the tab. The little V meaning the up strum, and the little, 3/4 of a square symbolizing the down. Now you see we've got 5 consecutive up strums on just the A string coming. And the reason for that is we're going to use our index finger, similar to as if we're strumming, to only pluck a single string. So our hand still kind of moves up. And if you accidentally hit another string in there, it's not a big deal. It's more getting comfortable with that motion because it's going to go 2, 2, 5, 5, 5. And that's going to start the pre-chorus. So I'm holding that chord, that E minor add 9, and then play that with those up strums. So at this point, we're going to go on to section C, the pre-chorus, and that's hold on to what we've got with the song. And we're going to start strumming for all of this. So it's really important that you're comfortable with strumming as you're working on this. I actually find this pre-chorus to be a little bit easier than some of the earlier sections. We've got our down strum, our up strum, the down again being the 3/4 box, the up being the little V. So we're going to start here on 0037, index on 3 of the E, pinky here on 7 of the A, down strum, then chunk. Then we're going to come up on 2225, a D chord looking something like this, barred across. Then up, down, and then 2 on the A, so we just take our index off, pluck that with the index finger on an upward motion. Go back onto the 5 with the pinky, another little upward motion with the pinky there, or with the index finger, excuse me. 2 on the G, come up to 7, still holding the bar there across 2, up on 7 on measure 28 here. And then we're going to go open on the G string because then we're going to go through an E minor chord. You'll notice that little squiggly line means to use your thumb to strum through. So that beginning part sounds like this, starting at measure 27. Down, chunk, up, up, down, up, 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 down through with the thumb. Continuing on here, we're going to do a chunk. Back to the 0037, index here on 3 of the E, pinky here on 7 of the A. And then an up, down, up. Then going back to that D chord, 2225. Down, up, down. And then up on 2 on the A. Back to the 5 on the A, full chord, down, up, then slide up to 7, pluck that. And that's in measure 30 where we now switch chords to this 4-4-3-5, or 4-4-3-7, excuse me. Pinky's going to stay here on 7 of the A. We're going to slide our index finger up to be on 3 of the E string, and then take your middle finger and bar it across the 4th fret of the G and the C strings, making sure you come off for the E and the A. That's an E minor chord. We're going to do a down, down, up on that. Going into measure 31, we're going to go down up on 0037. Same chord we were playing before, so you could just take your middle finger off there to play it. Chunk. We're going to come up on 2225. Up, down, up on the 2A. Up with the 5 again. Ghost note there with the G string on 2 of the G, up on 7, open G to strum through with the thumb on that E minor chord. And then this is the end of the pre-chorus. We're going to play open A and open G at the end of measure 32. Then on measure 33, we're going to pluck the C and the E strings both open. And then we're going to do a bunch of down strums just with our index finger here. We're going to do 5 down strums all open, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on the 6th, we're going to do a down strum on 0220. Index here on 2 of the C, middle finger here on 2 of the E. And then going into 34, the last measure of the pre-chorus, we're going to move our middle finger up to 3 on the E, and then we're going to move it back down to 2 on the E, leaving our index here the whole time. Off with the middle finger, and then off again, and then chunk or mute the strings going down. And that ends the pre-chorus. So the pre-chorus all together sounds something like this, super, super slow. It's going to be something like down, chunk, up, up, down, up, ghost, down with the thumb, chunk, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, chunk, up, down, up, down with the thumb, open, down, 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 da. Crazy. What's really important when you're working on this is just making sure that you're getting the correct number of beats per measure. It's okay if you miss an up strum or you miss a down strum as long as it sounds good to you. Truth is, when I'm performing it, I don't necessarily play it exactly like this every single time, even though this tab is the most correct way to play it. So from here, we go on to measure 35, which is, the first meat and potatoes of the song, which is the chorus. It's going to use a lot of very, very fast strumming in this, very fast ghost note strumming. I'm going to be going through this somewhat quickly just because this video would be about 6 hours long if I broke everything down as carefully as I do all of my other tutorial videos. So if you need extra work with some of these ghost note concepts, check out the link in the description below. I've got a course that I've done on Ukulele Underground that covers all sorts of strumming things. We called it the Ultimate Ukulele Strumming Course. So check that out. And there's a coupon code in there too if anybody wants to get that. There's a ghost note module that really goes into great detail with this technique. But now, starting section D, the chorus, we're going to start by fretting an E minor chord here. 4 with our ring finger on the C string, 3 with our middle finger on the E string, 2 with our index on the A. We're going to just pluck, though, the E and the A. And I like to use my index and middle for this. And the reason is because it's then going to go into some strumming. I'm going to do a ghost note, essentially, the open G, and then I'm going to come up, but I'm going to be muting the A string with my index finger. So up, and then chunk, and then I'm going to do a down strum, taking my ring finger off, still muting the A string there. So just the first 4 notes of D is something like this. Right? It's kind of crazy. First 5 notes, that is, right? And then from here, we're going to do a ghost note, up, ghost note, up, and then chunk, up, down, up, all on that 003 X, the X on the A string symbolizing to mute the string. So the first measure there should sound something like that. Now here's the trick. When you're working on this first measure, do it nice and slow, build up speed, make sure it's very clean. It gets easier as you do one of these measures because these patterns transition to one another as you go through the song. So the hardest it'll ever be is when you're working on the very first pattern. So if it takes a week just to get this, it's going to take maybe 3 days to get the next one, and so on and so forth. But this one does take a while. It's very difficult. So now we go into measure 36, and what we're going to do here as we're coming off that up, down, up, is we're going to take our index finger here and we're going to play 2 on the C string, but we need to keep muting the A. And so in this case, my index kind of collapses a little bit to mute that A string. Pretty tricky though. 0, 2, 3, do down strum, and then I'm gonna pluck it and go down to 2 on the E with the middle, open G, and then open E with the 2 on the C, open G, 2 on the C, open G. So measure 36 is going right into 37 now. We're going to go to a G chord. Index finger stays where it was, middle finger and ring finger come on, ring on the 3E, in middle on the 2 on the A. We're going to do a down, ghost up, chunk, And then we're going to do a downstroke on a C chord. So just add your ring finger on 3 of the A and leave everything else where it is, or take everything else off rather, leaving the G, C, and E strings all open. And that's going to be on a down. So it goes down, ghost up, chunk, down, ghost up, chunk up, down, up. You'll notice that rhythm, very similar to what we were playing before. Down, ghost up, chunk, down, ghost up, chunk up, down, up. It's going to be reoccurring. So we go to measure 38 here. It gets pretty crazy with this chord, 2, 2, 3, 3, bar across the index finger on all 4 strings. Middle finger comes across with a partial bar over 3 on the E and the A. Do a down strum here with the index. Then pluck the 3 on the A. Then ring finger comes over to 4 on the G. Bit of a yoga stretch with the fingering here, but it's what we need to get this sound. 3 on the E, 2 on the C, and 3 on the E together. And then we're going to take that 4 off, play 2 on the G. And then pinky goes on 5 of the E, play that with 2 on the C, and then the 2 on the G again. So 38 is... Going into measure 39 now, it's going to be very similar to what we played on 35, but a little bit different. We go back to that E minor chord, but we're not going to add the index, so just the 4 on the C and the 3 on the E with the ring and middle fingers. Play those 2 together, open on the A, open on the G, and then take off the ring finger, 0 C and 3 E together, open G, and then down, down, up, just on that. So that goes a little bit tricky, but it's just getting that sort of feel. So and then from here, it's going to go to 40. We're going to go back to that 2. 40 is actually exactly the same as 36. And then luckily, 41 is exactly the same as 37. And the next one here, 38. 442, excuse me. Measure 42 here with the 2, 2, 3, 3 is exactly the same as 38. 42 and 38 are the same. And this is the end of that first chorus. So now we go on to the verse 2, section E here. So verse 2 is going to start with the intro played like this, which is what we were playing earlier with the last run through of the verse. So that's that index finger across the on the C string 4th fret, ring finger barred across the 7 on the E and the A, bringing that ring finger up, or middle finger up. Man, I'm messing up all the names here. And it's because this is complicated. There's a lot of moving pieces, but you'll notice that this shape is exactly the same as what we played at the beginning. Right. So when we play 43 of verse 2, into 44. And now as we go into 45, you'll notice that 45 should look very familiar. All of this should be very familiar because it's the same as verse 1. And it goes... all the same. Go back through. We're at 53 now. Now 55. And then now it gets different. At the end of measure 56, instead of going down, which is what it did before, it's now going to go up. So we're going to go up to 9 on the A with the pinky, 10 on the pinky there. And then we're going to strum through 0, 0, 0, 12 with our pinky sliding up to the 12th fret. Open on the G, strum through with the thumb on 10, and then strum through on 7, and a down strum. And then on 58, we go to a D chord, bar all the way across 2, add the pinky here on 5 of the A, down, 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 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down strums there. Play just the 5 on the A. Slide it up to 7 on the A, and then come back on that E minor add 9 chord that we've played a few times. that 0-4-2-2 chord, which is the 2 fingers, up strum. And then it's going to go, this is it's a crazy rhythm here on 59, but we do this, and then it goes ghost, down, ghost, up, down, up, and then into 60, down. So just so that we can hear that, I'm going to play 56 through 59 into 60. And then you'll notice at the end of 60 actually goes back into the pre-chorus again. So that you can hear all this, it should sound something like this, really, really slow. You can see the fingers. Again, 56 I'm starting at. And then at 60, it goes that same little pickup line it did into the pre-chorus last time. So now at this point, we're going to go on to section F, pre-chorus 2, and luckily, thank God, pre-chorus 2 and pre-chorus 1 are pretty much the same. So pre-chorus 2, playing it through, it's something like this: down, chunk, up, down, up, down with the thumb, chunk, up, down, up, down. And so there at 64, you'll see one of those very small differences where we did do double ups there. We now are going to have a down with the D chord and then up on 7. So it's almost exactly the same, very small changes. Going back to that E minor again, down, up. Going on to 65, down, up, chunk, up, down, up, down with the thumb, open, and then all of that through 68 exactly the same. So one very small change. In fact, if you play pre-chorus 1 and pre-chorus 2 exactly the same, nobody's going to judge you for it. The only actual difference there is, some of the strum markers being a full down strum instead of being just the flick up on that melody note. So now from here, we go on to chorus 2. And chorus 2 is, another one of the difficult ones. I think that this is the coolest part of the song. Chorus 1 was down here. So the melody was here. That melody, right? Now we're going to play that same melody all the way up here, which is going to make it sound much, much more vibrant. It's also going to be pretty much almost exclusively strummed with finger picking intermixed. So we're going to start here on 0, 11, 12, 10, middle finger here on the 11th fret of the C string, ring finger here on the 12th fret of the E string, and the index here on the 10th fret of the A string. So 11 on the C, 12 on the E, 10 on the A. We're going to do a down, ghost up chunk up here. And then we're going to do another down strum. We're going to switch to 0, 0, 8, 10, index on 8 of the E, ring finger here on 10 of the A. We're going to do down and up, ghost up, down, up. So we have and we're going now into 70. We're going to switch all these fingers around. Index is going to come onto 9 of the C string. The ring finger is going to go on 10 of the E string. And here's the kicker. The middle finger is going to go on 9 of the A, even though when you look at 70 here, there's no 9 on the A written initially. You're going to use your pinky to squeeze it on in there to get the 10 on the A, because you're going to do a down strum here. Then you're going to play the 10 again, and then you're going to play the 9, which is already built in if you do it that way. And then I'm going to play the open G. Pinky's now going to cross up to 12 on the E, holding everything else where it is, playing that. And then 10 on the E. So that goes pretty crazy. Now, here at measure 71, we go to one of the bigger stretches of the song, bar all the way across 7, go all the way up to fret 14. Creates a G chord, my favorite G chord. Well, one of my favorite G chords. We're going to go down, ghost up, chunk, and then we're going to do another down strum. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide our pinky up to 15 on the A, ring finger is going to be here at 12 on the E. And we're going to go down, ghost, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, so that goes like this on measure 71. And now, holding this 15 on the A with our pinky, we release the ring finger, add the index here on 9 of the C, middle finger here on 10 of the E string, and we're going to play through this whole chord now, which is 0, 9, 10, 15, and this is measure 72. We're going to play the 15 again on the A string, go down to 14, and then ring finger crosses up to 12 on the G, holding everything else where it is. We play that twice. 10 on the E, which is already there. 12 on the A, sliding that pinky down. And then we're going to play open on the G, taking our hand off. Whew. So 72 sounds something like this. Right? Whew, it's a doozy. So one more time there. As we go into 73 now, we're going to go back to this chord, the one that we started on G. Middle finger here on 11 of the C, ring finger here on 12 of the E, and index on 10 of the A. Strum through this with our thumb or picking it. Both ways sound good. Add the 12 with the pinky on the A. Open G. Switch again to that 8 and 10 that we did on measure 69. And then we're going to go ghost, up, down, up on that. Going into 74, it's exactly the same as 70. Exactly the same measure. And then, really luckily for us, measure 75 and 76 are exactly the same as 71 and 72. So we're going to go... going into 76 here, same as 72. And then going into 77, we're going to finish off this second version of the chorus with 0, 0, 12, 15. We're going to play the 15 a few more times. So we're going to strum through the chord. 15, 15, 15, 14. And then we're going to play 12, 10, all on the A. End up with the index finger here on 10 of the A string, so that our ring finger can come here on 12 of the E, and down, 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 all on just that part. So 77 and 78 should sound something like this. And now from this point, we go on to section H, the solo. So if you listen to the original recording of the song, not the original recording I did, but rather the original recording of the song by Bon Jovi, this goes into a guitar solo. So I did what I could to kind of emulate it and capture what I think are some important, cool parts of it. So to start on 79, we're going to play open E, 2 on the C with our index, open E again, 0, 0, 3, 3 on the E string. We can play that with our middle finger, ring finger. It really doesn't matter because this is so quick, because then when we play the 2 on the A, what I like to do is make sure I don't use my index finger on the 2A, so I can use my middle, so that I can then go on 80, bar across, letting that finger come off so it's an open A, and down, 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 down. So 79 to the beginning of 80. Right? And as we go from here, it goes 7, 9. That's the end of 80. Going into 81, we're going to bar across the 7th fret and add our pinky here on 10 on the A. And then play the 7 on the G, 7 on the E. And then we're going to play the 7 on the C and 7 on the E together and hammer on to 8 on the E string. 7 on the G. Take our pinky off, now 7 on the A. So 80 goes. Going right into 82, we're going to put our pinky on 7 of the A, stretch all the way down to bar across 2, 2, 2, 2, 7. We're going to play that. G, C, and then slide the pinky down to 5, through, down, down, down. So that's the first little part of the solo in my mind. And so what that sounds like, 79, 80, 81, 82, something like this. And then going all the way. Going into 83, we fret an E minor chord, ring finger here on 4 of the C string, middle finger here on 3 of the E, index on 2 of the A. We're going to pluck each note of this, starting with the C, C, E, A. Then we go to a C chord, and then 2 on the A, open A, hammer on pull off, and then open G, followed by open E. One of my favorite runs of the whole song, the sound of... Going into 84, go back to that D chord, down, 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 down. And then we're going to go all the way back up again. And 85 is very similar to what we played on 81, but without the hammer on and pull off. So on 85, we start there with the 7, 7, 7, 10, 7 on the G, 7 on the E, add the middle finger here on 8 of the E, strum through that, and then 7 G, open G. And then we go into 86, and 86 is sort of the end of the solo section going into eventually the chorus modulation. But here at 86, we play that same chord we did before, the 4, 4, 3, 5, index finger here on 3 of the E, pinky all the way outstretched to 7 on the A, middle finger then is barring across the 4 on the G and C, making sure it's not on the other strings. Strum through with our thumb there. And then you'll notice there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 strums written here with varying numbers of strings. And the reason isn't necessarily that you have to make sure that you're only strumming a certain number, as much as it is trying to show the build. You'll also notice the dynamic marker underneath called the crescendo, telling you to get louder. So what you want to do here is you want to do all down strums. You want to try to just like hit the G and the C. If you accidentally hit the E, no big deal, but it's kind of soft for the first 3. 1, 2, 3, and then the next 3 a little bit more, and then the last 5 all the way through much louder. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with that last strum being the loudest. And then we're going to play 3 on the E twice, and 4 on the C, which is built into that chord. We then, going on to measure 88, take our middle and pinky fingers off, slide the index down to 2 on the E, and play through that with our thumb. Very dissonant chord, but I assure you it is correct. And then we're going to go chunk, and then we're going to move that index up to 2 on the G, middle finger here on 2 of the C, up, up, down. So 88 goes... And then 89 goes like this. So what that is you're going to still be holding that 2, 2, 0, 0. You're going to strum through your G, C, and E strings, opening again, 2 on the C with the middle finger there, and then you're going to slide it up to play 4, taking the index off, and then down, down, open 4, 0, 0. So you'll notice that middle finger just transitioned right up. And then when we play this next part here with the 3, we can just add our index finger here on 3. Going right into 90 now, we're going to get this down, 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 down. So all these triplet quarter notes, 6 of them, it's just going to be alternating between the 3 on the E on and off. So it goes down twice on, off once with it off, then down with it on, then down with it off, and then down with it on again. So down, 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 down. And going right into 91, it's going to go back to that D chord, bar across, leaving the A string exposed. Down, 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 chunk. Whew. So measure 90 into 91 should sound something like this. So that concludes the solo section. Now, if you listen to the original song at the end of the solo section, they go up higher even, and they actually modulate, which means they switch keys. Now, someday, I would love to do something that goes way up the fretboard with this. I have something in mind that uses like, big, like, cool stretches. Someday, I'll be able to do that sort of stuff. But today is not that day, and it wasn't when I did the album a few years ago. So when we do this modulation, we go down to this area here to create that. So we are now at section J for the strum solo. And so on section I for the chord modulation. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here on section I for the chord modulation, we're going to start with a G minor, middle finger here on 2 of the C, the ring finger here on 3 of the E, index finger here on 1 of the A. We're going to do a down, and then we're going to do a ghost up chunk, and then we're going to come up, muting the string. So you'll notice that there's the 3 X's on this up strum. So we're going to do a chunk, and then we're going to come up with these 3 fingers just touching, and the G string can be open, that's okay. And then pivot our middle finger here to 3 on the E for a down on this 0, 3, 3, 1. So this is a little bit difficult because it goes, and you'll notice I'm just raising the pressure off to create that muted sound. Down, ghost up, chunk, mute, down. Going into the next part here of 92, it's going to go ghost up, chunk up, down, up. So we have down, ghost up, chunk, mute, down, ghost up, chunk up, down, up. It's crazy, right? But if you get this rhythm down, it's so much of the song. So that's what's nice about this, is these rhythms are very difficult at first, but as you get more of them, it's like learning new vocabulary words. You start using them in different ways to make different sentences, and before you know it, you're speaking the language. Then we go into 93, and on 93, we're going to play 2-0-1-1. It's like an F chord, but your index finger is barred across the 1 on the E and the A string. We're going to go down and then up with our index, and then up with our index again, moving our index finger on our fretting hand to come off that A string. So it goes down, up, and then ghost, 3 on the E, and we're going to come up with our index finger here on the E string. So you see I'm kind of starting in the middle of the fretboard there to pluck that, and then 1 on the E, so just taking off that ring finger. So down, up, ghost, ghost. Going into 94, it's like a G chord, but higher. It's a B flat chord technically, 5, 6, 5 on the C, E, and A strings, index on 5 of the C, ring on 6 of the E, and middle here on 5 of the A. Down, ghost up, chunk, and then we're going to do the same mute coming up, down, ghost up, chunk, mute. And as I do that mute coming up, I'm switching to 3, 3, 3, 6. So it goes down, ghost up, chunk, down, ghost up, chunk, mute, down. So you can see that when I do the chunk, I start the switch. I'm moving my fingers into position. So when I come up, it's muted, and go back down on the 3, 3, 3, 6. And then it's going to go ghost up, chunk up, down, up. Same sort of rhythm that we've been playing. And then we're going to go to 95, and we're going to go to 2-0-1-6. So we leave our pinky here, and we stretch these 2 fingers down. One of the harder stretches of the song, and this song has a lot of hard stretches. We're going to go down, and then up on the A, going down to 5, and then up on the A, collapsing that finger to bar so that you get the 1 on the A string, and then adding 3 on the A. So 96 really slow is so 92, 93, 94, 95 is kind of the first little run through of the chorus modulation. It should sound something like this, really slow. Really crazy, right? And I'm making some little mistakes here playing it slow. And the reason is because I'm so used to playing the song fast. I promise you, these are all the little movements that I'm making when I play this song. But when you get it up to speed and you get comfortable with it, it's okay to kind of trust your natural intuition of how you play the song. I've been playing this tune now for 9 or 10 years, the arrangement. And when I wrote out this tab and started teaching it to people, it was really difficult at first to go back and try to do it at a speed that was slow enough. And so if you practice it just like this, Oh, sorry. You're going to have really good success over time because it is the motions I make just slowed way down. And it's difficult. I know it's a really, really tough song. Well, the other things to make sure, and what you saw me actually just messing up here, is going between the 16th notes and the 8th notes. It's going back and forth between those. You want to make sure that your 8th notes are half the speed of your 16th notes. So if you're playing measure 92 like this, and then you're going right into 91 like this, then you need to be playing 94 like much faster, right? So 92, and then 93 would be nice and slow. So moving on now to 96, it's very similar to 92. We're going to start with that G minor down, and then we're going to come up with 3 on the A, then ghost note, and then we're going to make that same switch to the 0, 3, 3, 1. And then ghost up, chunk up, down. So 96 goes. So that's 1 and 2 and 3E and 4E and going into 97, it goes the same as 93. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and exactly the same as 93. And then luckily here on 95, exactly the same as 94. Going on to 99, exactly the same as 95. So it's all good there. Now from here, we're going to go on to the strum solo section. So this is where the song gets really, really fun and kind of crazy. So with these parts, this is really using those ghost note rhythms. And once you start getting the patterns down, you start to get more comfortable with it. So the strum solo is going to start on the G minor chord and going to the E flat. You'll notice that the chords that it's playing here are the same. It's going to go down, up, ghost up, chunk, mute, down, ghost up, chunk up, down. Up. So that first rhythm there is really important to get comfortable with. Again, here it is slow being said. Down, up, ghost, up, chunk, mute, and then we're going to switch down, ghost, up, chunk, up, down, up. One more time. Down, up, ghost, up, chunk, mute, down, ghost, up, chunk, up, down, up. Now we go on to 101, so I love 101. 101 is going to play that 2011, so an F chord with the index collapsed, getting the 1 on the E string. We're going to do a down, ghost, and then we're going to do an up coming off that index finger on the fretting hand. So it goes down, ghost, up, chunk, and then comes back on, down, ghost, up, holding it on. Then it goes chunk, comes off, up, down, up. So a little crazy there, but on 101 we have down, ghost, up, chunk, down, ghost, up, chunk, up, down, up. So you can see that movement coming on and off. And then it goes back to 102 is the same as 100. So 100, 101, 102 should sound like... And then this is my favorite rhythm like ever. I love this rhythm here on 103. We're going to be using it throughout the end of the song, and it's a doozy. You're going to start on this 0, 5, 5, 3. So middle finger here on 5 of the C, ring finger here on 5 of the E, index here on 3 of the A. You're going to do it down, and then when you would come up to miss the strings after this, you're going to pull off the index finger on the fretting hand. So it goes down, pull off, and then ghost note. So down, pull off, ghost note. Then it's going to go up, back on the 3, And you're going to miss the strings going down, doing a pull off there. So it goes down, pull off, goes up, pull off. And then the last motion here is an up with the open on the A string. So still holding those 5. So it goes down, pull off, goes up, pull off, up. And then it repeats this. Down, pull off, ghost, up, pull off, up, down, pull off, ghost. And then the very last up holds the open. So this is a crazy rhythm because if you look at it, it's different sets of triplets. It's one triplet being 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then another 1, 2, 3, and then another 1, 2, 3, and then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's what makes this so cool and so crazy to play. So when you're playing it, getting comfortable with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's crazy. It's so much fun though when you start getting it down. So on 107, really look at it closely and try practicing it very slow, getting each one of those motions comfortable. So at that measure 103, which is the same as 107 if I said that earlier, I apologize, 103 where we're at. One, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes back to 104, which is the same as 100. And then 105, which is exactly the same as 101. And then 106, which is the same as 100, 102, and 104. And then 107, which is exactly the same as 103. And then it goes to 108, which is going to flip-flop some fingers. So the middle finger is going to now go to the 5th fret of the E string. The ring finger is going to go 6 on the C string. And the index is going to go here 3 on the A. And it's going to go down, up, ghost up, down, up, ghost up, down, up, ghost up. So that rhythm is very similar to what we played before. You'll notice it's a real spicy dissonant chord. But if you look at the motions again, it's down, up, ghost, up, down, up, ghost, up, down, up, ghost, up. Same little collection of 3, right? Where it's like this 1, 2, 3, 1, and you know, it follows the same little pattern where it ends with that 4. It's just not using any of the pull-offs this time, so it keeps the strumming moving the whole way. So 108, nice and slow. Down, up, ghost, up, down, up, ghost, up, down, up, ghost, up. From here, we go on into section K, which is the Strum Solo Modulation. So this chord, being really dissonant, is trying to lead us back into E minor, which is the original key we're in, and into the strum solo. Into that part. So the way that we play this, if you're still following along, awesome. We're all the way to the second to last part. You're going to start on that E minor add 9, 4 on the C string here with the ring finger, index on 2 of the E and the A. We're going to go down, ghost up, chunk, and then we're going to do a little mute coming up. Down, ghost up, chunk, mute. Then we just take off our ring finger and push our finger back down, so it's 0, 2, 2, or 0, 0, 2, 2 rather. Down, ghost up, chunk up, down, up. So it goes measure 109. Down, ghost up, chunk, down, ghost up, chunk up, step. Right? Going into 110, it's actually the same as 109, just with different chords. It starts here with 2, 2, 2, 2, barring all the way across with the index finger. Down, ghost up, chunk, mute. And during that mute, I'm going to switch back to the first chord of this section, 0, 4, 2, 2. Ghost up, chunk up, down, up. So 110 is down, ghost up, chunk, mute, down, ghost up, chunk up, down. So what's neat about this is when you go to 111, it's the same as 109. So I'm going to play 109, 110, and 111. It should sound something like this. As we go into 112, it's going to be down, 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 all over the 2 across. And there's this cool little rhythm here that's played. So I'd recommend actually just trying to get that rhythm, that sound in your head as you're working on it. And what I like to do is take my fingers here and mute the strings right after playing each one of those notes, making them more staccato. So it's this down, 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 down. Now, after you do that down, 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 there's a bunch of different things you can do. And depending on which video you watch of me playing this song, it's going to be something where you can hit the uke or you can strum it. It's a little rhythmic fill. You'll notice on the tab it says RSG, which means raschiato, and it's saying down, up, down. And so what that's trying to tell you is you can do a raschiato, which is going down with multiple fingers. So I'm using my pinky, ring, middle, and index going down, and then I'm going up, down. So I'm going raschiato, up, down. And that sounds like this. And that's a pretty good default way to do it. You can also smack the uke if you want. You can try whatever you want. Really, you can do. But the thing that's written is that. So 109, 110, 111, and 112 should sound something like this. And then as we go into 113, it's exactly the same as 109, and then 114, exactly the same as 110, and then 115, exactly the same as 111. And then we do the same rhythm that we just did a moment ago. But then you'll notice there's a rest instead of the raschiato. So we're going to down, 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 rest, stop everything at this moment. And you can take a break too if you want, because now from here we go on to the outro of the song. Whew. Now, if you're still watching this, if you're watching this first time, leave a comment down below to let me know that you just watched 57 minutes of me talking about Livin' on a Prayer way too fast because this song is so difficult and I want to try to keep this video about an hour. Wow, great work watching it. This is a doozy of a song. Obviously, if you're watching this, working on these parts, it's good to slow them down, rewind them. Don't try to learn the song in an hour. But we work now on measure 117 for the outro. And luckily, the outro is very easy because the outro is exactly the same as the beginning of verse 2. All that we're going to do here, it's really easy if you've played verse 2 because it's going to be the index here on 4 of the C. Ring finger is going to bar across the E and the A strings on the 7th fret. We're going to have that middle finger ready and go on the 7 on the G, and we're going to do that same pattern we did before. And we're going to do it 4 times. And then when we get to measure 121, we just play the 7 on the A, let it ring. And then little harmonics. And the way that we get harmonics is just lightly touch the string. You don't have to compress it. And we're going to be on fret 7, so we're going to be right over the middle of the fret wire there. And I find it easier to take your hand and actually cross it over to try and get that sound. And a trick to make it really vibrate is to take your hand away as soon as you feel it vibrate under your finger. But at that point, the outro now, which sounds like just like that. And there is Livin' on a Prayer in its entirety. Now, again, this video went through these concepts very quickly. We're just about an hour right now, and to be honest, this song I think would take 6-7 hours worth of videos to really go into great detail of how all of these parts can be covered. So if you have any questions with any of the techniques that are covered or anything else throughout this, please feel free to leave them down in a comment below. And also please make sure to check out the other videos that I've done here. Every month I do a different song tutorial as voted on by my patrons over at patreon.com. And so each one of those tutorials builds some techniques and tools that you can use when you're working on the song. So if this is the first tutorial of mine that you're looking at, I would recommend looking at some of those other ones to get a good base of some of the vocabulary and techniques that are used to then dive into this much richer, more difficult song. Well, there you have it. There is Livin' on a Prayer in its entirety. I will look forward to seeing you guys next time for the next tutorial here on the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my Patreon page, which again is linked below, and feel free to like and subscribe to this video. And I wanted to thank Anthony once again for sponsoring this video on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys all soon for the next tutorial. Thanks so much.